And Don, Don's there. And Alex, where's Alex? Alex is over there. But anyway, that's not what I'm announcing, but we usually intro everyone anyway. On June 24th, which is a Wednesday, at the Venture Cafe, which is in Kendall Square, there's going to be basically demos of, it's called VIR Zoom, which is actually, I believe it's a number of people from Harmonix that are working on it, and maybe someone from Harmonix is going to announce this, but it's a VR app where you get to ride a bicycle, but while you're riding the bicycle, you may be flying on the back of Pegasus, who's the flying horse, not the Battlestar ship, or driving a tank, or things like that. So that's going to be Wednesday, June 24th, at the Venture Cafe. It's 1 Broadway, and RSVP is required. So you can find this on Meetup. If you look at meetup.com and look it up, you should be able to find it. That's the announcement.
Hey everybody, my name is Joe Mayella. I work for a company called TriNet, and I apologize for the sport code. I'm here all week. Hey, I'm here because of Les. TriNet's a company that works with HR. We provide HR to startups and small and medium-sized businesses. So, for example, in the tech world, a lot of people use us to sort of handle all the numbers of their employee stuff while they go off and do all that great stuff. My background is film and television, and now I'm hoping gaming. So I'm really happy to meet all of you. If you have any questions about just starting up a company, what you need to get in place, how you deal with the HR part of it, please feel free to come and see me. I'll be here all night. Thanks a lot.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Hansen. I'm sure all of you are much smarter than me. I'm a music composer, and I just wanted to say that if anybody's looking for a composer, I've kind of written for normal styles most of my life, and just recently I wrote for a couple commercials, and I would love to get into video games and get into that kind of composing. So anyway, if anyone's looking for music and wants to chat, I'd love to meet you. Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris. I work at Unity. We're hiring a lot of VR software engineers, so if anyone's interested, that'd be great. You can come talk to me afterwards, otherwise go online and we have applications there. The second thing is that also Unite Europe, which is the Unity conference in Europe, is happening June 20th through the 24th, and we're streaming the keynote live, so if you guys want to see some new announcements that we're doing, I would check that out. It'll be live on YouTube and Twitch, so there you go.
Hey, I'm Nick. I'm from the Worcester Game Pile. We're like a collective of indie devs in Worcester and Central MA. We have a meetup on June 16th. It's a demo night. If you guys want to come show off your games or check out games, you can come find us around here. Come to the event.
If you have any questions, come find us.
Okay, so I have 2 Twitter plugs. Also, Chris forgot to say that if you want to submit a talk to Amsterdam, Unite Amsterdam, which is Unite Europe, the extended talk submission to June 12th. They do not work for Unity, but as public knowledge. June 12th, come up with a talk, submit it, and then you can get into Unite Amsterdam for free. Think about it, it's good. Okay, so 2 Twitter events. One is on Tuesdays, happens to be Unity Tips. Hashtag Unity Tips, TIPS. If you are new to using the Unity game engine, it's a great resource for like those tips that veterans know and you don't find out until like 5 years later and you wish you would have known. If you are a veteran and you have tips, share them. People like us need them to be proficient and not, think about like senpai or something like that. Second one is on Wednesday, so first one is Tuesdays, Unity Tips Tuesdays. The second one, if you're an indie developer, please join us, hashtag Indie Dev Hour Wednesdays at 2 p.m. our time. It happens around the world. There's people everywhere from South Korea to the UK to Australia to here 2 p.m. our time, hashtag Indie Dev Hour. It's one of the most positive, uplifting communities. Self-promotion is totally acceptable. You'll get your game, whatever it is that you want to have be part of on the Twitter, Facebook, and retweeted by a whole bunch of awesome devs. If you want feedback on something, post it. Hashtag Indie Dev Hour, Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Okay?
How you doing, guys? I'm Renzo Heredia. I'm the video guy that puts up things that block everyone's view. Basically, Boston Festival of Indie Games is coming up, and the festival is looking for sponsors, basically by making donations that are tax deductible. You're able to get word out of what you're doing, what your business is. We have IGDA now as a media partner who will help spread social media about what we're doing. And yeah, definitely, you know, if you want to be a sponsor, check it out. Feel free to contact me. And yeah, in any case, check out the festival, September 12th, 2015.
Woo!
Hi everybody, I'm Ben Taylor. I run the IGDA Rhode Island chapter. And we put on slightly different events than Boston Postmortem. First off, we do it at the second half of the months, whereas these happen in the beginning halves of the months. And this month, we'll be doing one on a topic of simulation gaming. So we'll have the creator of Romance Central there. We'll have the creator of Will Brearley from Soda Drinker Pro will be there. And we'll have another special guest from World of Simulation Gaming. And every month we do these topic-based events. So July will be rhythm games. Last month was card games. We had Magic the Gathering. We had Doodle Fail. We had a lot of great game developers that come down. So check us out on Facebook. It's IGDA Rhode Island, and we are going to represent the sort of gaming that you love. So please check it out and come on down. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. So we're really excited to have an active chapter at Rhode Island, so we're excited about that. I'm Dan Salzberg. I'm one of the other organizers of Boston Postmortem. I have an announcement of my own to make, but before I do that, there's just two housekeeping things. The first thing is, thank you for coming, and if you feel like you need to talk during the talk, we encourage you to do so, but we ask that you do so outside so as not to interrupt the speaker or the speakers while they're giving their talk. And the second thing is, for announcements, we ask that folks don't give announcements where they're looking for work. We understand that, and this is a networking event, but there's probably a lot of folks here who are looking for work, and announcements would go on forever if everyone who was looking to do something was lined up here. So we appreciate you recognizing that, so thank you. So the announcement I have myself is I work at GSN Games. We're in downtown Boston at 100 Summer Street, so right next to South Station and downtown Boston. And we have a variety of openings on our website, so gsngames.com, engineering openings, I mean just really across the whole organization, marketing, operations, everything. So if you're interested in talking to someone about that, come and find me. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. And gsngames.com is our website. So thanks a lot.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Andy, and I help coordinate Boston VR, which is actually one of the largest, or is the largest VR meetup group in the New England area. And I'm here to tell you about a meetup that we have upcoming on June 24th at the CIC. And we're gonna have basically this awesome exercise bike that's been hooked onto a VR headset, so you can pedal in your Oculus Rift and feel like you're actually riding a Pegasus, and if you ride fast enough, the Pegasus starts floating into the air and you can steer the Pegasus. So anyways, long story short, it's gonna be really, really cool. We also have a bunch of people locally that will be setting up all of their VR demos. So if you guys really want to get a taste of the Oculus Rift or try out any of the latest VR technologies, that would be available as well. You can look it up, just look up Boston Virtual Reality, and it should be a meetup group. Thanks.
Last but not least, right? My name is Pete Paquette. I'm formerly from 38 Studios, Irrational Games. Some people might call me the harbinger of sorrow because I've been through the ringer. So I said, to hell with it, started my own company. It's called Wolf Island Games. We're doing a puzzle, interactive, sort of heavy narrative game that's highly influenced by the early Don Bluth films and the early Don Bluth games, like Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. With that said, it's way too much animation for me to do alone. I'm gonna need some people who are traditionally trained in animation to help out. If any artists are interested, find me on Twitter under Wolf Island Games and send me a message. Or if you know somebody who might be looking, definitely looking for people to help out. So.
What are you called again?
Wolf Island Games.
Wolf Island?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex. I also help organize Postmortem. I got something, if you haven't heard, so I used to work at Turbine for 6.5 years, and the Turbine team spent 5 years of its life working on Infinite Crisis, a next generation MOBA game that came out, officially launched in March of this year, and has sadly announced it's been shuttered. It's going to be closing on August 14th, I think, of this year. So this is kind of funnily and strangely, almost 10 years exactly since Asheron's Call 2 shut down, the first time we shut down one of our games. But if you get a chance and you know any Turbine developers, it's going to be likely that Turbine's going to be getting rid of some of their IC people and their MOBA people and things like that. Not an official confirmation, just saying I know some people have already started looking for work outside, working on other online games. So if you have contacts at Turbine or you have anyone that you know that can help, please reach out to them. I know they'll be looking for jobs and looking for other projects to work on. Turbine itself is continuing. They're working on several new multiplayer mobile titles, but it's kind of a sad day for the people at Turbine to find out that they, the company, the product they've been putting 5 years of their life into, some of the best talent at Turbine is now being shut down. So kind of sad. If you have a moment, just take a moment to think about it. Talk to your friends at Turbine, and anything you can do will help. So thanks everyone.
So I also work at Harmonix besides being on VPN. So I want to list some of our job openings that might interest you. We currently are looking for a software engineer, graphics software engineer, and also on our publishing team we're looking for an intern, a media intern, and a web developer. So if you're interested or know anyone, please check out the Harmonix job site. You can always check out the Boston Postmortem website as well for other job listings, and if you're an employer, feel free to go there and list your postings on our website. And for any of the announcers, anyone who came up today and had announcements, feel free to find myself or Alex, Don, Dan, to give us your card if you'd like us to maybe post that online as well for you. So now I'm going to get to our presentation. We have Mark Sullivan, Rick Cody, and Nick Garza from Team Future Awesome, who are presenting Black Hat Cooperative and what it's like to develop a serious side project. After the presentation, they'll also be giving a Q&A, but after that, they'll be running demos of the game. So please stick around and try out some crazy shit in VR. So thank you very much, and here's Mark Sullivan.
Setup. Hi, I'm Nick, and here's Rick.
Hello. Okay. We're pulling up the presentation. Ta-da. Okay. So, we're Team Future. Officially, in the last month, we just became a company. So, I myself am the audio person. I do some PR and business for us also. And over here we got.
And again, I'm Nick Garza. I work as our designer and level designer.
And I'm Mark Sullivan, and I'm our programmer, and I chip in a little bit on some of the level building. And our fourth member, Sinsin, is in California, but she does all our art. She ran our KickStarter, lots of stuff. So this is cool somewhere. So moving on. So yeah, I just want to take a little time just to talk about our game Black Hat Cooperative. So out of curiosity, who here has had a chance to play Black Hat Cooperative before? Cool, cool. So what is this game? So, it's a VR game. I guess the easiest pitch I could do, how many people here have seen The Matrix? Most of you, I hope? Awesome, that makes this pitch really easy. So, in the first Matrix movie, there's this scene where Neo's, in an office. He doesn't really know about the whole Matrix thing yet, and he gets this phone in the mail. It's really cool, like sliding phone. And on the phone, it's Morpheus, and Morpheus is telling him all kinds of things like, there are going to be agents at your location in 30 seconds. Go across the hall now. Duck into the office on the side. So, thinking of kind of the dynamic between Neo and Morpheus in that scene, that's kind of the game we tried to create here. So it's an asymmetric two-player cooperative game for the Oculus Rift. So that's a bunch of words. What does that mean? So one player is in the Rift. A lot of this art is temporary. We haven't actually finished the game yet. Just the heads up, but. One player is in this 3D maze, kind of doing this stealth thing, trying to get to the end, avoid being caught by enemies. Then the other player is not in the Oculus Rift. They're just, at a normal computer monitor, and they basically see the map. They see an overhead view of the world. So the player with the map can see, they can see that there are enemies through that door that player just opened, so he's probably going to get caught there. So they can warn them. They can see. Basically anything that's red on this map can kill the player, but a lot of those are invisible to the players in the world. So that's a trap door right there. Those are timed laser beams, and the player who's in the Rift is totally dependent on the player with the map to warn them about those things. So this is kind of side by side. The real game is it's about stealth and communication. So I mentioned that the player with the map can see lots of things that the player in the world can't, but it goes the other way as well. The players in the world, some doors can only be unlocked by passwords, so the player in the world has to find the passwords that the hacker player can then type in to unlock doors. And the hacker player can also hack enemies if you know their name, and the player who's in the world has to scan the enemy. So here we can see Rodeo 93 was the name of that enemy, because the player in the world scanned it, and then the player with the map is able to hack it. And those names are actually taken from our KickStarter backers. So that's kind of the gist of what the game is. You guys will see a little bit more of it later, but just as some context to get us started. Want to talk about how the project got started, Rick?
So the game started, we are at Global Game Jam 2014 at MIT. And so we got together. There we go. There's everyone minus me. And so we're all together, and we were developing a game, and we had a rift around. Mark and Sin were the ones that they had the idea of, we wanted to do something with this, some kind of communication. And I know Nick and I, intrigued by the possibilities of the rift and communication, we kind of came into the fold, along with two other people, but we'll save that for a little bit later.
And yeah, this was sort of an impromptu thing. We had all heard of the Oculus Rift. I knew Mark and Sin from Gambit, MIT, which some of you guys have probably heard of. And we just wanted to create something that was with this new technology, more as just a thing to goof around with, and to kind of, in some way, to finally get to try it. If I have to make something for it to try an Oculus Rift, so be it.
So yeah, that was the starting team. So yeah, we developed the core game of the game jam. We really proved out a lot of the basics of what's still standing in this game today. So we kind of decided to develop it a little more. So over time we had to decide who's going to do that. The four of us were on board. Jenna broke off to work on the Counting Kingdom. She's presented here a couple times. And Sean, I'll get to why he's not here later, but he would like to be here, but these little things called non-competes.
What are those? I don't think I'm ready to box. Okay, so one of the big things about it is we made this game and we put it out at Global Game Jam. We put it in front of people, and we weren't really sure what we had. We kind of just put it out there, and we're like, this seems cool to us, but what do we know? We made it. So then we went and showed it at Mass Digi and some other places, and you can see the focus on people here, and that was kind of what surprised us, and that's what pretty quickly got our attention, made us say oh, we got attention here, let's try this place. We got attention here, let's try this place. And eventually one thing led to another, and I'll just say the situation developed, and we went to Boston.
One step, I guess, kind of behind this might be one step slide forward. I think it's the... Yeah, so this was actually a really big surprise for us and a little bit of a lesson. When you Google your own game, sometimes you'll get surprised. It's probably like you can Google your own name. But we saw these guys that put up a video. We saw like another Oculus Rift player put it, and we saw it had a whole lot of views. And people thought in the comments that it sounded like a pretty cool game. So this was actually pretty baffling for us. Or not baffling, you know, we were very, very not surprised that it was a very good game, I'm sure. But it was still like pretty amazing to see that transition. And that's when we kind of wanted to take it to more places and kind of get a better gauge of people's reactions.
If anyone speaks Arabic, I'd love if they could translate this video for us, because I have no idea what they're saying, but they seem like they're having fun.
There's probably some good material in here for us to talk about at some point. So, yeah. One of the things here, funding progress. We funded something, this game. And so what we did is, you know, again, one step led to another, and we realized people were interested. And then we thought, like, all right, we're getting close to thinking there's enough interest, we might be able to fund a KickStarter. And that's what we did. So we went ahead and right around the time Boston Festival of Indie Games started, we started our KickStarter. And we got lucky along the way in the sense of like Kotaku, PC Gamer, some other people, you know, published articles for us and did write-ups for our game. But what we found that was really valuable was all the exposure that we did, just the curiosity of seeing if we got results here, then what we're going to get there, led to that, you know, that interest and led us to develop the game in the right direction that people would eventually fund it.
One thing that I think was useful for KickStarter, because it is like this serious side project, we weren't sure if it's worth, like, is this worth putting in our nights and weekends on? You know, we all got, none of us have babies to look after, but I'm sure we all have hobbies. But so we're like, okay, if we get enough money to do this, we'll do it. If not, then it was fun, but we'll let it go and work on other things and, you know, make those babies to take care of and use up all that time.
But yeah, so one of the things I just wanted to observe is you might note that you know, our Kickstarter goal was a little over $4,000. For those of you working games, you know that's not a gaming budget. Yeah, kind of the unique position we're in is you know, we all have day jobs. This is just a, you know, side project for us that we're pursuing. Like I, you know, make games by night doing this, and then I work at Harmonix by day, also programming for them. And you know, everyone on the team is in a similar position. So when we set out to do funding, you know, part of it was seeing if there's interest, and then another part was just covering Unity licenses, because up until very recently, Unity was not free. It cost a few grand that we weren't sure that we were willing to drop. Yeah, and I just wanted to take a moment just to kind of like chronicle this curve. So kind of like the beginning was when we launched the Boston Festival of Indie Games. Friends and family. You know, that's how it starts. I think a little bit of this was just kind of you know, organic traffic, or you know, people we reached out to at FIG and stuff. Oh yeah, we got the Kickstarter stat pick that helped a little bit. Then we flattened out for a bit, and we're like, crap, that trend sucks. And then we got lucky, and yeah, we've been sending our stuff to a bunch of news outlets, and Kotaku posted an article about us, so we got a big spike. And then there was a, you know, a Reddit thread that just got a ton of traffic, and that pushed us over. And then we stopped, but you know, then there was kind of a late hours push. I think most of this came through direct Kickstarter traffic.
So, starting from Globo, I apologize. Starting from Global Game Jam, this is like I said, this is a significant part. You know, we went to Mass Digi in 2014, and that was the first time we realized like this is worth something. It's worth the pursuit. And then we went there, somewhere else, somewhere else. You can just keep pushing it while I talk about it. But basically, that's what happened. It's like, you know, we realized that each event kind of justified the next event, and again, that serious part-time thing, that motivation became more and more real and present as we kind of went along. Because at every one of these events, we tended to have really good traffic come into our game, and that we thought, you know, maybe it was VR that was attracting people, but after a certain point, we also got really great reviews on the game itself. So we realized we had something. And that's what, it's a big part of our motivation.
And yeah, besides the motivation part for this, another part that's very useful with going to these events, and I think we touched on it in a what we did right slide, is that we can't afford a QA team because we only got $4,000. So this is basically we go there and we get people to play these new levels that we're trying to make. We're trying to figure out like what features are worth continuing with and which ones are garbage or at least kind of hard to communicate. So we go there and we find these bugs that we didn't notice or things that people really liked more than we thought they did or that they just didn't get at all. So that's what this was like a really great testing bed for, and I highly recommend engaging with as many local events as you possibly can.
And the Boston scene is awesome. You guys are awesome. Like this is a great scene for this. So this is us. I'm eating dinner in the middle of a meeting. That's kind of how we have to work this as a serious side project. And this is, again, super important to why we're here. We met at Global Game Jam. Mark and Sin were dating beforehand, and like Nick had known them. But, we all kind of became like friends through it. And this is what I kind of think is like, for developers, the people in this scene right now, I think this is super, super important, is that even if you're not getting paid specifically from a company, you don't have a job with a company at any given time, one of the really valuable things is that you're forming community and you're getting together with people, and it's like, really, we just became friends. Like we had meetings together that turned more, rather than a business meeting, it was like we just had dinner and just kind of hung out. And then we played video games, and then on other days, of course, we in our spare time too, after work, we would be developing. So it was like this great combination of having people, people around us that were really interested and we wanted to make this thing together. But then it was also like we got more out of it. We were friends with this, and that was like it's a huge benefit. And of course, it boosts your resume. It does anything to make you a better employee for the future. And it's just been a ton of fun. It's been really, really worth everything we've put in.
Another nice thing with, you'll notice this is a pretty small team for being, I guess, what's a whole company, is that you get to try out a bunch of different skills. So, typically with game stuff, I've been like mostly designer things, but I've got to do a little bit of like hacky-ish programming that probably Mark hates. Like when Rick came, he's like, yeah, I'm a sound guy, but then he turns out to also secretly to be like a fantastic PR guy and marketing guy and like reaching out and like hustler and that sort of thing. And you're like, all right, so like you kind of find like these skills you have, you get to like, all right, I'm gonna try this out. I've always been an accountant, but it's finally my time to shine as an artist.
Mark?
Sure. Yeah, one of the big points I would say about doing a, working on a side project, it's really important to stay motivated and have fun because, we don't have, huge financial incentives to finish this thing. It's all about like making a game that we want to make. So, yeah, like going to the events, is something that we have a lot of fun doing, like seeing people like having fun with the game. That's like a really big motivating factor. Sometimes it means knowing, when to say no because something wouldn't be fun. Because one of the things that so often gets brought up is, oh, this game is great, so it's going to have online multiplayer, right? It could, but, I've got to keep it fun for me. That wouldn't, that's not how I want to spend my time working on, getting the networking, super solid and stable. We did actually have a network version of this, but getting a network version functional and getting it, super sleek, there's a, big difference between those things. So, what's fun for me is I love the idea of having a game where I have an Oculus Rift, but usually if I want to show people, demos at home, I kind of put the Rift on them and then, we're not interacting anymore. They're just kind of alone in their own space. So I'm really interested in kind of the local co-op thing, being able to put someone in the Oculus Rift and then continue to interact with them. So that's kind of, one of the things that keeps it fun for me and keeps me going.
And I think one huge thing is, I talked about people appreciating it. We also got leads every step of the way, and even the small leads we were able to appreciate. And I think that's a big thing as a group. For example, I can say officially, we're being used as as part of a curriculum in an entrepreneurship academy in France. And it was like through a video that we had played by one of those people on, it was Rooster Teeth. We had a video played by them, and they found us through them, and so now we have, you know, a connection over there. We had, you know, other opportunities like local gaming centers. If you guys don't know Newton Gaming Center, they're really awesome, and they run really cool competitions there, like every weekend. But they reached out to us and offered to put our game in there. You know, we obviously have other reasons. I mean, we used to be called Oculus, and we're not anymore for obvious reasons. And that was another connection we made. But like with Oculus, with other people. And so, you know, again, it's being able to have that appreciation for each step of the way. And we have clear developments now. We are in a better position. Even though we funded the KickStarter, that was relatively small compared to what the future could hold for us. And it's just been able to appreciate, you know, 10 people really liking our game and just wanting to stick around. And then 100 people wanting to come and play it. And then at FIG, we had like over 400 players. And then we funded a KickStarter, and then Rooster Teeth, and it just kept escalating, and we're at the point now where we're looking at some other options, and it's been an awesome opportunity, and to develop it with people that were friends all along. You know, that part of it has been, just been a really great opportunity, and I can't recommend that enough to every single person here. Just find people, work with them, and that collaboration is invaluable.
Yeah, one thing I kind of want to add, especially with the motivation type stuff, is that I'm sure everyone, if not everyone here, has like side game projects that they've worked on, and I'm guessing a lot of those have also kind of like withered on the vine. Like I know I have like games where I'm like, oh, I should finish that someday, but because it's just like me and someone who's kind of busy with other stuff, you just kind of don't worry about it. These events are sort of like excellent deadlines, and like the events kind of become your boss. You know, like, well, I don't want to work on this level, but I got to show it in a couple of days, so I guess I won't watch Game of Thrones. So, you know, that's a really good push. So even if you have someone else, like, you know, like setting up these events you got to go to prepare for them, other people are really driven, and sometimes you can, like, you know, eventually you have to help too and be the push, you know, try and push a little bit. But yeah, that group kind of thing is extremely, extremely valuable.
Good. Next slide. So, as part of being a company, this is our headquarters. You can see very luxurious. We have a computer in a box, controllers. So, again, we're gonna just talk about, you know, what we do again, right? We have other games that we're working on. So some of our successes, I'm going to leave over to Mark now to talk about some of the successes in this project.
Cool. So yeah, you know, what's been going well? I'm not going to harp too much on it, but since we already talked about it a lot, but doing events has been great for deadlines, for keeping us motivated, for doing lots of iteration. One of the big things that you know, we've had to iterate on a lot is our tutorial. Our goal was to be able to just sit people in front of the game and, you know, have the demo run itself. It would make a lot of these events a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, so we just had, you know, lots of different versions of the tutorial, and, you know, we eventually did it, you know, just using these events as, you know, big playtest events. That's probably about it at that point. Yeah, telling lots of people about the game has been huge. You know, we've talked to lots of people, you know, big and small. I remember once, I'm not even sure like how we made contact with him. I think it was at Boston FIG, but there was a high schooler who was extremely nervous, but the four of us had a Skype interview with him. His voice was quivering the whole time. He was so like amazed that these game developers would talk to him. We're like, we're just a bunch of dudes, we know. Not famous. You know, also we, you know, we talked to some of the, you know, big people, like, you know, we wrote to Kotaku at one point. You know, I wrote that email. I was very careful to try to make an email that was pretty much already a story. Like I had nice, like, headline-y type pictures, quick blurb about why it's interesting, short little summary, and went up in, I think, under 10 minutes from when I sent it. I was really stunned. But just, yeah, talking to lots of people, it gets the word out. You know, I'm glad a lot of you people here have played it. It means we're, you know, we're doing an okay job. Yeah, another point about talking to people is be aware that some people might have heard of your game that you haven't heard, so Google yourselves. We showed like the Saudi gamer thing. Rooster Teeth was a similar thing. We, found out that Rooster Teeth were huge streamers that covered us. So yeah, just be on top of that and Google yourselves, because these people don't exactly go out of the way to notify you if they're gonna write something up about your game. So you talked about keeping it fun. It's a side project, so we wanted to make sure we scoped it appropriately. We said no when we needed to, like the network features thing that I talked about. We just showed it around. Seeing people play your game is a huge way to stay motivated. One other thing that I alluded to this a little bit earlier when I showed the picture of the people who had been on the project before. But if you're going to work on a side project and you work in games or maybe similar tech, make sure that you get your non-competes cleared. So I talked to the people at Harmonix, and it was pretty clear. Okay, they're like, well, it's not a music game, so it's probably fine. I can work on it. But Sean, who was the other programmer of the Global Game Jam, he ended up moving to California. He got hired by Facebook. Then Facebook bought Oculus, and he got assigned to Oculus, and then they said that he can't have the VR side project. So, it sucks that we lost Sean, but, I'm glad we, went out of our way to get that cleared, because legal matters aren't necessarily an area where it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Another thing we've done well, build quickly. So after the KickStarter, we basically gave ourselves, Boston Festival of Indie Games and our Kickstarter that was like September, October. We wanted to be feature complete. So by feature complete, I don't mean all the menus and stuff built and everything, but we wanted to have all the mechanics so that we could, build our levels with confidence that nothing was going to be changed out from under them by the end of December. So we gave ourselves a couple months to work that out. And we just built quickly. We didn't worry so much about, art or sound at first. It was just a matter of just building lots of things and then bringing it to events and seeing what stuck, so then we could, make calls for what we actually wanted to keep around.
And feature complete is a tentative term, because we got feature complete and then we decided that warping was a really cool idea. And so about a month or two ago we put that in. So we locked down on some of it, but we're also, one of the benefits of just being as independent as we are, even though we've opened a company for ourselves, is that we've had the opportunity to, people said on the day one of PAX, they're like, oh, this Mac build, it needs to have a different turning, some different adjustments for turning. And the next day, it was in the build. And so we have a lot of flexibility, and we can admit to our mistakes really quickly and turn around with the product that people want to see, really fast. And the same thing happened, that was from Boston, Playcrafting until now. We had changes implemented from Tuesday. They'll be here today. So it's really, really quick. We take advantage of that opportunity that we have to do that. And that's one of the things that we would do again.
Yeah, and then so kind of two parts that are kind of what Mark was saying. When it came to adding features to the game, Mark was prolific. It was like I don't know what he was on, but it was just he's I've added these 5 different hacking things this afternoon, and then these 4 more things that can kill you. And then you take them to events, and you're okay, we're having a lot of trouble communicating this, or this was really awesome. So, don't get too married to any of the features that you're adding to a game. Be ready to cut stuff if it's just not really taking off. But then again, test and test and test, and that's, again, a great thing about these events.
So one other thing that I, would definitely do again on another project, and I hope other developers try it too, is what I mentioned with the local asymmetric VR play. I hope more people do that. I don't know if you guys have heard of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, but it's a game where someone's in the Oculus Rift working to defuse a bomb, but then someone outside the Oculus Rift has this big manual with instructions for how to defuse a bomb. So, what do you see in there? I see these wires. I'm going to flip to this page and, find out what to do. I hope more people make these sorts of games, and I'd love to work on another one after this. Yeah, and finally, one thing we did right was we were just open to opportunities. When we went to the Global Game Jam, we weren't originally had something, we stuck with it because I know a lot of us have made like lots of small games, and they're fun, but they don't really stick. But when something looks like it, has the potential to stick, then stick with it for a little bit.
Change it. I guess we touched a little bit of our changes on the things we would do again. I think if there's one thing I would potentially do differently is let some of the features settle in a little bit more before kind of like putting a bunch of work into building levels or something we have to like kind of like scrap a little bit. But then if you don't do that, then you can't test it. So sort of a little bit could go either way. Mark mentioned the make sure you do check your non-complete agreements so you don't go to jail and get fired or something. Yeah, I'm not sure for too much else that I would change about our process.
I liked it.
I got a couple things. One of the big things that I, wish we would have done earlier is rebranding. Rebranding sucks. So, when we made it the Global Game Jam, we weren't really thinking about the fact that calling our game Black Hat Oculus, as I said, we weren't planning on it being anything we'd continue to work on originally, but we called it Black Hat Oculus, which has another company's name right inside the title, which is kind of a red flag. But we didn't really do anything about it, and we made a website, we've got an email address, we made it, KickStarter, lots of business cards, and then we talked to Oculus, and they're like, dude, you can't do that. So that kind of sucked. So at least Black Hat is a recognizable part of the name, but it means Googling around for it will be a little more annoying and stuff. It's not something we can't recover from, but it's been a pain.
That said, Black Hat Cooperative, we like it. We like the fact that it actually describes the game and the cooperation involved. You don't necessarily get that just by calling it Oculus in our case. So with that said, I'm gonna flip the slide. So we got more? Show me more, show me more, come on. Give me more, give me more, next slide. Questions? So we're gonna open it up first. So yeah, do you have a question for us?
So you mentioned that don't keep talking and nobody explodes or whatever. I saw a game of Hat, and I think I found the part of it. I was like, the games are so similar, and I learned that they're both made in the same little game jam. This is popping up in the industry more and more. They did with that echo location blind game, very similar to one involved. So how do you guys kind of deal with that, like when you're partnering the game, who may have seen the other game first?
I mean, if you look at the two games, I mean, what's that?
Repeat the question.
Oh, repeat the question. So he's saying, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is a game that was similar in the idea that it's asymmetric co-op. One player is in an Oculus Rift, and the other player is doing something else. So that said, I mean, how do we market ourselves and separate ourselves from them? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like it's happening with other games too.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like it's a very barren market. It's us and them. I mean, that's awesome. Like, it sounds like we found the right area, I feel like. But on top of that, it's, we're on a monitor, right? So we do a little bit different with it. They have a binder, and you're flipping through a binder to try to find something. So, visually, the visual aesthetic is different. I mean, so the gameplay and that it's asymmetric and cooperative is similar, but beyond that, I think we just have enough difference that it's like, it's kind of like we feel like that couch co-op of VR, the VR equivalent of that. And so, I mean, there's room for, I think, certainly the two of us, if not more.
I have a question. You guys seem to have like a really good vibe going on. You guys have been working on this for a while. Like, at what guy?
This guy.
Right? At what point does this become like not a serious side project that you guys like go into all this? Like, well, the question is like, when do you guys decide what that point is?
I'll let us each speak for it personally. I know for me, for example, what it would take is, right, there's certain investments that we'd be looking for. There's certain opportunities and probably sales and whatever. We might, we could outsource it. And we could just kind of keep our involvement at this distance, be the chair people of our company, and just kind of, delegate our work out to the people, because we know a lot of people, we've networked with a lot of people, and give a lot of other opportunities. So that's one option. I'll pass on to Nick to talk more about it.
I mean, so for me, I'm not doing, like, my 9 to 5 isn't like game stuff. So, and that's why I'm pretty confident no one's from work's watching this, so I don't like my job. So like, if it was just like, income was coming in that I was like, hey, I can pay rents and eat and do this stuff, that'd be good enough right there for me. But I know like when you're doing like stuff you already love, it's a little bit tougher to make that jump up. Yeah, for me, that's pretty much what it would take.
All right, well, tons of people are here from my job. So but yeah, I mean, for me, I'm really just like I'm like Nick. I like my job, and I just, I need something to do. I don't know. I like building things, so I need a side project. If I did end up like taking this on full time, I'd probably like have another side project I'd work on. So yeah, I don't know. Guess I don't know what the tipping point for me would be, but it's not something that I'm looking at right now.
I'd make Mark sign a non-compete, so he couldn't do a side project.
He's pretty, both of them are pretty incredible what they do. So, any other questions?
What was the most, each of you individually, what was the most difficult part about converting it from something small to something more?
So I started as a teacher in September, and so to convert it from a small project to getting something bigger, just finding the time where I'm trying to like do my master's, teach a full-time job, and then do this, that was intense. And needless to say, part of the value of the team aspect was that I could, have them step in for a month or two while I did that. So for me, it was that team aspect that just kind of helped things grow, where when I couldn't help it, someone else could. And then when I had opportunity, I was doing it when someone else did not.
So I think, yeah, likewise, time is a pretty big constraint. Besides Team Future, I've also co-founded another studio called 1.5 Beers that does like contract mobile game development. But for that one, it's like, even for that company, it was a big thing. Like, okay, I know this artist is like super on point. He can make sure that things are going to be flowing around and making sure our programmers are working. So you can kind of just paddle back and forth as like the needs and different projects arise.
Cool. Any other questions, or should we? Oh, get another question back there. Ben.
Have you gotten hacked, or has there been any backlash for being called Black Hat?
We have not, though. A funny thing that happened once was I mentioned that the original version of our game was networked, and there was a little issue we had where apparently when we wrote the game jam code, the number of connected clients maximum was set to 16 and not 1. So at one point, just other people started coming into the game and like typing bad instructions to the player. So that happened once, but not networked anymore, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. But no, nobody's taken it as a challenge yet.
Cool. So, any other questions?
So we actually, if you don't have any other questions, we had one thing we wanted to do here, and this would be kind of fun, is we wanted to get someone to put on the Rift and play the game. We want someone to play the other role on the computer. You want to play? Sure. Yeah, come on up. Anybody else? We need one other player. Come on. Yeah, you can. So you can decide. You can have a turn on each side. But if you guys, yeah. So what we need you guys to do is maybe feel free to kind of comment a little bit. This guy right here on the keyboard, he sees this map, right? So anything red in this map is trouble. You got to keep him away from trouble because he can't see. So feel free to kind of talk out. If you see some kind of trouble coming along, feel free to maybe be the first person to know about it. So yeah, we'll get this up and running in just like a few seconds. And like I said, feel free to call out.
So you're keyboard. Probably want to stand over here so you can see the screen. All right. So why don't you go to the checkmate level for this? So he's going to be driving, but if anyone wants to bark orders, I can go right ahead. So basically, you and the Rift walk through the door to the checkmate. He can also see what you type as you type it. So he's yeah. So if having this
If you move to your right and then take the first corner to the left, there's a glowy thingy that red is that it? Cool, awesome. Keep going, perfect. Okay, take your first corner to the left. Alright, now be careful because there's a control that is, let's see what he does. Okay, he's moving forward, so you can keep going forward. Oh wait, no. Back out, and pass it in a second. I think you're out of sight right now. Alright, stop. When I count to 3, go as quickly as you can. 1, 2, 3. And take the first corner to your right.
But you're noisier.
Oh, he makes noises.
The white circle is the noise.
Okay, okay, there's a lot of controls, so... Well, I guess we'll see you.
Stop. Alright, so on your left, around the corner, the little block there is two controls like standing right directly across from each other. So right over there. Oh, we skipped the tutorial. Keep going right. Left. Keep going. I don't see anything. So far, you're not looking at okay, there's stop for a second. There's going to be a sweet message. Keep going quickly.
So we have the room until 10 o'clock, so please feel free to hang out and demo the game. And thanks so much to Team Future. So we're glad to have you guys. Thanks a lot for coming.